Good morning, everybody. 2 mornings in a row. I left the trigger warning up a little longer than I need to, but this is a dirty ass world. And Teardrop and Step Meth are dirty ass people. Yesterday, we had a very triggering show. I've been going back and forth with one of our moderators who I just absolutely adore. And she said, after the last show about Michael Vaughn, she said, I had to check out for a little bit. She said, it upset me so badly. And I said, that is what you should do. We aren't talking about homemade guacamole here or the weather. So it's always important to take a break. Speaking of important, our friend Just Me has been battling a very, very nasty flu. She was hospitalized yesterday, and we need all the prayer warriors on deck. However you do it. You pray, you put some thoughts out in the universe, however you do it. Let's send it to our wonderful, wonderful friend, Just Me. We don't like it when our friends around here are sick. Now, who is getting snow over the weekend? I saw that this band is coming through, and even part of it's going to hit us here in Northeast Oklahoma. Snow and sleet. No bueno, and I'm still not going to wear socks. I guess I need to quit complaining about having runny noses in the winter when I never put on socks. You know, my mother used to warn me all the time, well, you don't wear socks, so that's why you're sick. Or she'd say, did you really go outside with wet hair? You're going to catch a cold. Well, I guess I need to quit complaining about it. Mary Glick said, we have a dusting. Well, I'm sure you do. You're in New York. Britt has snow in Minnesota. From what I'm seeing, this band, no surprise, is going through Utah, Colorado, and it's going to catch the Kansas-Oklahoma border and go into Missouri. So we don't want that white stuff around here. No, we don't want that around here. I don't like it. It inconveniences me. Don't exactly feel like investing in a snow shovel. I'd be the one that got the snow heart attack. You know, the people that just shovel and shovel and shovel until they get hypothermia. Well, we all know me. I wouldn't do that. I'd just wait for it to melt off and sit my ass in the house. But anyway, that's how it goes. Tiffany Crockett said, keep it far away from Texas. During a snow and ice storm, Tiffany was in a horrific wreck. It was about 3 years ago, right, Tiff? She was hit by a bus, and she's been recovering ever since. We don't want it. We don't want it. Let's take a second and tell everybody, TGIF, my friends, we have almost made it through the first week of the new year. All right, today's subject is Harmony Montgomery and what her dad's defense team is trying to pull. Now, defense attorneys, public defender or private, they have certain tricks up their sleeve. Some come in and they file their motions and they are what I call defense in name only. They don't want a bar complaint that they didn't represent correctly. We have seen some really goofy motions in the Quentin Simon case, and now we're seeing them again in the Adam Montgomery case. I think my favorite is them saying that the receipt from the ATM and him, I believe, on camera at a Home Depot buying lime. And I don't mean lime for your margarita. I mean lime. To dispose of a body. They're saying it's not relevant. Well, it's very relevant to me because, for one, Harmony is still missing. She has not been found. We have testimony to a grand jury from Stepmeth that she was dismembered. Also, Teardrop, this dude lives in cars, shelters, and squats in homes and apartments. Why would he need lime? Why would he need lime? It's very relevant. Hang on, did I already screw something up? Britt said, Brooks, you got people confused on what day it is. Did I say it's hump day? Today's Thursday. Hang on. What damn day is it? It's Thursday. Who knows what I said? The other day I called Leilani Letitia. You guys are in good hands here because of you, because you keep me on track. So I'm supposed to believe that Teardrop is he's using it for landscaping? Or he's in his car making homemade soap? Am I really supposed to believe that? He barely has 2 dimes to rub together, but decides to invest in bags of lime. But they say it's not relevant. It's not relevant. It's very relevant to me. So are your comments. Let's go through the comments from the last show. Our friend Miranda said, Brooks, you said it best. The worst thing we can do for an adult is treat them like they're 11. I have a family member who is 20, almost 21. She has never filled out a job application. Her father filled out one for her. She had an interview and knew nothing of what was on her application. So now she's blaming her dad for not getting the job. I have said since day one, you can't do everything for a child and expect them to be a functional member of society. You'll never learn unless you do it for yourself. Then she said, I love this channel. Well, I love you too, Meerkamp. And Teardrop, Crystal, and Stepmeth have been head-petted for way too long. They seem to have family members that they, I wouldn't say they're helicopter parents by any means. They know something really, really bad is going on. Guns, drugs, Harmony's missing, and they're still supportive of the adults that were in charge of Harmony. Very dangerous. Great comment, Meerkamp. Carolyn said, thanks, Brooks and Susan. Susan is the one in the hospital, for giving this sweet little girl the love she deserved in life. Not the monsters who should never have been near her. Why can't a judge be held accountable too? That has always been one of Susan's biggest bitches in this case. Why is this judge not being criminally prosecuted? I've got one word. Politics. I think he should never be allowed to sit on the bench again. Ever. Let him go out there and chase his money. Sit in waiting rooms and be an ambulance chaser. What have you. He should never, when a judge's judgment comes under scrutiny, they should be off the bench. It is very unsafe for our society to have a judge with poor judgment. Val said little Harmony was abused for so long, it's sad to even think of the suffering she went through, physical and mental, and she had no choice in the matter. That is so true. That is so true. She never had a chance. Born to a frequent flyer of the jail, 2 drug addicts, living in cars, a mother who doesn't even know she's missing, and she acts like she did everything to help Harmony. And when the governor's report comes out, we find out Maury said that's a lie. Don't need to go on Steve Wilkos to figure that out. It's a lie. Get Real left me a comment. It's very charming. She said, there is low and then there is low. Are you really making money off of Harmony Montgomery? I am so sick of these comments. I really am. You are on one of the most profitable platforms on the internet, YouTube. Do I get advertising? Yep. Do I make millions and millions? Not even close. Not even close. So if the $2.32 that's going to go to my recording hours and StreamYard offends you so bad, then you need to be off the platform 100%. You just need to be out of there. Don't promote their algorithm. Don't leave comments. Damn sure don't watch it, because you know who makes the money when we cover cases and pay the expenses out of our pocket? Do you want to know? Here's a hard fact. YouTube. People ask, what is the net worth of YouTube? Well, last year, 2023, the brand value of YouTube stood at $29.7 billion. That is billion. That is not $29.79. That is not 29,000. That is not 29 million. That is billion, girlfriend. So if you're going to complain to me about what little bit of chicken scratch I get, pat yourself on the back, whore, because you're part of the problem. But I do have this to say to you.
Jerry? Yeah, what can I do for you, Rod? You just tell me, what can I do for you?
It's a very personal, very important thing. Hell, it's a family matter. Are you ready, Jerry?
I'm ready.
Just want to make sure you're ready, brother. Here it is. Show me the money.
There you go, Get Real. How you like that? We got all day for those comments. We do. Maybe that's what threw me off, not even knowing what day it was. Woo! Woo! All right, let's get to it, because the case for Harmony is really heating up, because old Teardrop has trial next week. There is a new tip line number. It is scrolling at the bottom. It is 603-932-8997. The case is one that sparked outrage when the details came to light and begged questions about how the systems set up to protect children failed. And we can all agree in this case, everyone except for Jameson and his adoptive fathers failed her. There wasn't a mama, a papa, an aunt, an uncle, a great-grandma, a mother, a father, a stepmother. No one stood up for Harmony except for her little brother and her little brother's adoptive fathers. The case prompted an investigative report from the Massachusetts Office of the Child Advocate that looked at how the courts in both states handled Harmony's case and where communication may have broken down. The state of New Hampshire also came out with a report on the case that included recommendations to change existing policies on how certain cases are handled and ways to improve how information flows. Really good article from 10 Boston. They actually have a very chilling timeline. There's little Harmony right there. Easter 2019. Harmony last speaks with her mother. As you remember, she supposedly FaceTimed with Teardrop and dangled an Easter basket and said, "Next time I see you, I'm going to give you this Easter basket." Well, you know that thing's collecting dust, or she pawned it. October 2019, last time Harmony is seen in Manchester, New Hampshire. She was seen during a Manchester police call for service in October of 2019 at a residence in the city. That is the last time she was seen. Now, they believe that she was IM'd around the 1st of December. December 2021 to January 2022, which is when we started covering the case of Harmony Montgomery. Searches at Harmony's last known home. Authorities search a home on Guildford Street in Manchester several times. Authorities called it a focus of the investigation because it's the last location where Harmony was known to reside before her disappearance in 2019. 2019, 2020, 2021. 2 years it took to alert authorities that no one had seen her. December 31st, 2021. Police began investigating Harmony's whereabouts. January 4th, 2022. Harmony's father arrested. There is body cam pulling him out of the car when he was trying to sleep in his favorite Coors Banquet t-shirt. They followed him around town. They want this body cam thrown out. We spoke several months ago about how they want cell phone records not entered into evidence. They got a big fat 0 on that. They're going to use them. And now the lime receipt. The charges were failing to have Harmony in his custody. He pleaded not guilty. Shows you what a slick Willie Teardrop is. Like Lori Vallow, you plead not guilty, yet you can't produce Harmony. January 5th, 2022, Harmony's stepmother's arrested. She is arrested accused of welfare fraud or allegedly collecting food stamps for Harmony, even though she was no longer living with the couple. Again, she pleaded not guilty. She pleaded not guilty, even though she has turned state's witness and told him that Harmony was dead above their bed in the homeless shelter while they were under it on a filthy mattress conceiving yet another child. January 8th, 2022, Harmony's mother speaks out. She said, "Hi, baby. If you can see me and hear me, I want you to know that I've never stopped looking for you and I won't stop fighting until I find you, okay? You stay strong and mommy's right here fighting for you." I don't think I need to rewind the timeline or go through the governor's report that found out she was not telling the truth. The last time she saw her was on FaceTime, Easter of 2019. Lowell, Massachusetts to Manchester is a short drive. She wasn't looking that hard, was she not? January 9th, 2022 to January 10th, another search at the home on Guildford Street. January 11th, 2022, court documents reveal new details in case against the stepmother. 9 other charges, including theft. February 25th, 2022, report details New Hampshire DCYF response. Now, in this report, there was a lot of reparative measures, like this is how we communicate better. This is where the ball was dropped between not having the interstate compact or having it and it wasn't followed through with. But what Crystal had been telling Facebook was definitely sorted out in that report. Adam and Kayla Montgomery indicted March 25th, 2022. April 2nd, 2022, volunteers searched near the woods in Manchester. May 4th, 2022, report says Harmony's safety was not prioritized. That's an easy one. May 6, 2022, step meth was released on bail. And it didn't take her but a couple of months to get her ass kicked by the U.S. Marshals because she didn't show up to court and she quit giving them piss samples. June 4th, 2022, Harmony's stepmother was arrested on perjury charges. Butterfly kisses. When is his next court date? Trial is next month. June 8th, family marks Harmony's 8th birthday. She doesn't have any family to mark her birthday unless it's concerned citizens of the community, people concerned on the internet, Jameson and his fathers. The rest of them need to take a hike. June 14th, new search at Harmony's father's former home. That is when they went to the Union Street house where they found biological evidence that Harmony had been in the house. June 28th, new charges against Adam. He was indicted on 8 new charges. That had to do with gun and theft charges, which he has been convicted on. And one of the most heartbreaking days we've ever had on this channel, August 11th, Harmony Montgomery was murdered, according to the New Hampshire Attorney General. And the timeline continues, as you know. The timeline continues. And we're going to see every minute of that trial. Again, there is a new tip line, and the chief of Manchester Police is not going to stop until he has found Harmony and she has a final resting place. Now, with all the legal maneuvers that Teardrop's people, his lawyer people, have been trying to pull out, none of them are working, but I'm surprised they haven't used the old mental illness card. It's really shocking. Hang on, speaking of mental illness, several of you showed this to me yesterday, sent it to me. This has nothing to do with Teardrop or the case of Harmony Montgomery. This guy who is mentally ill and is a repeat violent offender attacked a judge yesterday. Now, I can't believe old boy wasn't sitting there handcuffed, I guess because he was out on bond. I can't believe that there wasn't, it happened so fast. He should have never been out of jail. Never been out of jail. For one, he's got crazy, crazy strength. And he's violent. He's not all there. Look at this.
With 13 Chief Investigator Darcy Spears.
That's right. And Darcy, you've been digging into Redden's criminal history here and what he told the court before all of that chaos. Tricia, it appears that Redden is an example of how the system can fail mentally ill defendants. His attorney explained that Redden has been diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. He'd been through mental health court twice amid a string of violent crimes. For the case today, he was initially charged with assault with a deadly weapon, but pled it down to attempted battery with substantial bodily harm.
You shouldn't let a violent criminal plead anything down. It's time to put him away and throw away the key. You certainly don't offer them bond. Now, I will say this, somebody with schizophrenia doesn't need to be on the Vegas Strip, okay? That's like shooting fish in a bucket.
Mr. Redden, is there anything you want to say on your own behalf before I pronounce sentence?
So basically, I would like to tell the courts everyone here, like, based on my criminal history, like, I feel that, like, I shouldn't be, like, sent to prison for a second time.
Have you looked at your criminal history?
Does he think he's Biggie Smalls, or does he just like Biggie? Is this a Biggie Smalls shirt? Nothing against Biggie Smalls, but if you're pleading your case to the judge, you might want to find some different attire. I don't think I would wear that in front of the judge. That's just me.
Have you looked at your criminal history?
I actually just, I looked at it.
I mean, you lived it, I
I
suppose.
just looked at it, yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know,
3 felonies, a gross, 9 misdemeanors, multiple DVs. Got a lot going on.
Yeah, he assaults and beats everybody's ass. And the judge just wasn't going to entertain his ass that day. Wasn't going to entertain him. He'll get his pills in the jail.
Come on, sir.
yeah, I just figured, like,
Battery on a protected person, robberies, attempt home invasion.
Court records show Judge Holthus oversaw one of Redden's previous cases for malicious destruction of property that was in court as recently as October. The two have a calm and matter-of-fact exchange, with Redden telling the judge he's a changed man, even indicating that he understands she must do what she feels is right in deciding whether to send him to prison for a second time.
I just figured, like, I'm in a better place in my mind, my mental health, I have a support system. I just got hired as a teamster for, the union, making $20 an hour. And
Okay, so maybe he's on his meds. He was like, I have a great support system. Eek. I'd hate to meet those people, okay? I'd hate to be at that Thanksgiving dinner. I'm a changed man. I'm making $20 an hour. All right. Well, you're going to be making money in the pokey now, because attacking a judge tells me he's never going to get out.
like the reason behind every single domestic violence, I've been dealing with mental health, and I didn't know that I was dealing with mental health. And they put me in mental health court, and I still didn't know that I had a mental health problem until it was August 2022 when I realized I have a problem with this. And like having a dictionary, and like understanding myself, getting to know myself a little better, and applying it to my personality, and having an epiphany at that moment, in those instances, and just like trying to learn from my mistakes, And I feel like I shouldn't be sent to prison, but if it's appropriate for you, then you have to do what you have to do. But I figured that, if I'm in a better.
Okay, so he's talking calmly here. We've seen Teardrop in court speaking calmly when he said, I had nothing to do with my daughter's disappearance, murder, however he worded it. I'm looking to go to trial and get it, straighten this out. They really think they're going to convince the judge. But since I'm a better man, since I'm making $20 an hour, I've had ineffective counsel before. I've got a support system. Forget about that rap sheet you just read to everybody. Forget about that. Let's look at how I've cleaned everything up in the last 3 months, is what he's trying to say. And he goes, I understand you have to do what you have to do. How sweet of him to give permission to the judge for doing her J-O-B.
Place in my life. I'm not doing drugs. I'm not out there committing crimes now, and I feel like I should be given a shot because I'm in a better place than I was then, so, but that's, I'm a person who never stops trying to do the right thing, no matter how hard it is. And I just, and I'm trying, and I never give up trying to do the right thing. I know I'm not a rebellious person. I'm not, I don't want to be standing there. I want you to have to, sit up there and waste your time as well.
He says he's done the best he can in light of his mental health issues.
Boo hoo hoo. He's done the best he can do in light of his mental health issues. Anyone got a tear? Anyone got a tear coming down? Anyone? Ilyanka said, I've heard so much of his crap from so many. Learn from this BS. They lie, and do not change. I do think some people can change, but I don't think they're going to change that quickly. He certainly has not changed. I get a lot of flack for the name of our channel, Crime, Lines, and Lies. They're like, look, she lies. She lies to you. Criminals lie. Suspects lie. Alleged suspects lie. They lie. Now let's see if he's changed. Let's take a poll. Do you think he's changed?
His attorney explained that the 30-year-old does not have a high school diploma and planned to pursue that while training for a new job he'd just gotten with the Teamsters, telling the judge Redden will do well on probation and is worth the risk.
I appreciate that, but I think it's time that he gets a taste of something else because I just can't with that history. In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court.
In the aftermath of the attack, panic ensues as it's clear more help is needed in the courtroom.
Radio somebody? Radio somebody! Oh, shame.
Off camera, down on the ground behind the bench, Redden appears to be in the throes of a psychotic break, yelling unintelligibly and loudly clapping. No doubt lots of questions to be answered.
And the video continues, and they gave him quite the beatdown. Let me tell you what, it's a wonder that the judge is not in the hospital. She might be. I mean, he flew. Those benches are high. What is he? An Olympian? I'm sure she's pretty sore today. And I have a feeling in her courtroom from now on, anybody that comes around her that has any sort of violent history, they're going to get the Letitia treatment. They're going to be chained to the floor. And I don't know how the newscaster knows this is a psychotic break. I don't know where the hell they're getting that. All right, someone who, again, I don't think had a psychotic break. We're back to the case of Harmony Montgomery. Teardrop wants evidence of buying lime and a grinder tossed out. Harmony is missing, and he is not cooperating with the investigation. Let's loosely go through the charges. Second-degree murder for recklessly causing the death of Harmony Montgomery, a person under 13 years, under circumstances manifesting an extreme indifference to the value of human life, by repeatedly striking Harmony in the head with a closed fist in Manchester on or about December 7th. Falsifying physical evidence for purposely altering, destroying, concealing, or removing the body of Harmony with a purpose to impair its validity or availability in an official proceeding. I think this is where the lime comes in. Abuse of a corpse for purposely and unlawfully removing, concealing, or destroying the corpse of Harmony Montgomery. Again, I think this is where the lime and the grinder come in. And of course, tampering with witnesses, who is stepmeth, and I do not feel bad about. I wouldn't have given her a proffer agreement. Maybe had shaved some time off, but just said, I would have been like, Nah, girl. Nah. But sometimes in these cases, for the greater good, they have to make deals with the devil. I still don't think that she was quite intimidated. I think she just didn't give a rat's ass.
You don't have any more, sir. All right, I got nothing to say. Adam, right? Montgomery. Yeah. Do you remember me from the Elliott Hospital from a while back, man? Yeah, I got nothing to say. Right. So hey, man, the only thing we're trying to figure out is where Harmony is. Okay. So concern is that you guys are the same, right? Okay. You're not in trouble. Nobody said you're losing your daughter. Okay. So I want to make that clear. So you know, I have my body tomorrow, so just like everybody else is being on. So you just need to find out where she is. That's all I'm concerned about. You're not in any trouble right now that I know of. Okay. You have no warrants. Okay. So where's your daughter so we can check on her to make sure that she's okay? Right now, I have nothing to say to you guys. But that's not what I'm just asking where she is. I have nothing to say. So you don't care if your daughter's okay? I do. I listen, I have nothing to say. Is your daughter... If I'm under arrest, you guys can arrest me.
Wow, what an attitude he's got, huh? Well, Adam Montgomery's attorneys also want to exclude some suspicious purchases that his wife, Kayla, claims that he made to tamper with Harmony's remains, including a metal cutting blade, a grinder, and lime. Now, Kayla Montgomery is expected to be a key witness at Adam's upcoming trial scheduled to begin on February the 6th. She already testified at his trial last June, where he was convicted on weapons charges. Here to discuss with me, Court TV crime and justice correspondent Matt Johnson, Court TV legal correspondent.
Of all the silly things to file, they want the lime and the grinder thrown out, the body cam, his cell phone records. If I read the article correctly, that was already denied by the judge. Let's light the chat up for Harmony, please. Pink hearts for Harmony, justice for Harmony. She will get her justice. Prayers that she is found. I know there's a lot of things going on in the world, but I'm not going to let Harmony Montgomery be forgotten. I understand Harmony is not the hot topic of the minute, but I am not going to let Harmony fall to the wayside.
Kelly Craft, and we still have attorney Carl Steinbeck standing by remotely for us. What a panel I've got today on the couch, you guys. Whoa, I wish we had all day to talk about this case. There's so much. Matt, let me start with you because you were there. You saw Kayla testify in the gun trial. You covered it for us. How did she come off as a witness?
Right. So I was there for the weapons trial there in New Hampshire, and she came off very credible, even though, you know, she's serving time and she was there in her prison outfit as well. But, you know, I'm also looking over at that defense table and how Adam was carrying himself very confident walking in the courtroom each and every day. You know, now a convicted felon dirtbag, but with a great attorney, Carolyn Smith, that's really pushing for these motions.
Ah, right. You know, you're speaking of, and so we know that they want the items from Home Depot to not be in front of the jury. And Kelly, I want to bounce something off of you, please. Tapping into your experience as a former prosecutor. Taking a look at a piece of that affidavit of probable cause that was for the murder charges. Kayla offers some information about seeing Adam Montgomery pouring some lime on little Harmony's body. So take a look. So we've highlighted this.
I had myself muted. Let's go back to that. Kayla said Harmony wasn't bones. She had skin, teeth, and hair, and Kayla could still tell it was her. Stepmeth said Teardrop put about half the bag of lime, or a little more, into the CMC maternity bag. Now wrap your mind around this. She was still sleeping with the bastard. She was still sleeping with the bastard. Kayla also stated that at some point after Harmony's body was in the refrigerator, Adam transferred Harmony's body from the Under Armour duffel bag into a new bag. Kayla stated this happened in the bathroom, that's on Union Street. Stepmeth stated that on that day in question, Adam spent 4 to 6 hours inside the bathroom at the Union Street residence with the shower running. Kayla then described Adam as placing Harmony's dead body inside of what she described as a Catholic Medical Center maternity bag. How did he fit her into such a small bag? How did he fit her into such a small bag? I want to say thank you very much to our friend Joy Callie for gifting Crime Lines and Lies memberships. Thank you for making it rain, making the family grow. Just heinous. Don't throw out one piece of evidence. I sort of butt heads with people in another case, the Idaho 4 case about the house coming down. They're like, oh, they have enough. They have enough. And I'm like, how do you know they have enough? Are you on the prosecution's team? Did you investigate the case? Do tell. How do you know they have enough? I mean, I've combed the internet. I don't think I've ever heard in any of these cases a DA saying, oh, we have enough. We're going to stop right there. If you know something, screw calling us because we already have enough. We're good. No. Doesn't work that way.
And she says that Harmony wasn't bones, that she had skin and teeth and hair. This is so sad. And she could still tell that it was her. And then Adam put about half of the bag of lime or a little more into that bag that he was carrying around, that duffel bag that's mentioned all throughout the affidavit. Kelly, knowing this motion that his defense team has filed trying to keep out the lime and the other things, the grinder, what do you think as a prosecutor? How problematic would it be if that stuff is excluded?
Well, as a prosecutor, you want to argue that this is really connected to the case here. And that's how you can get this kind of evidence in. Of course, defense counsel is saying that lime is kind of a common product that maybe a lot of people will buy it. So they want this excluded. And of course, they've actually had some wins so far in this case because the judge has agreed to suppress some of the interactions that he has made with the police. But of course, defense counsel wants that entire video, that interrogation video, and a little bit, if you want to call it interrogation video that they showed earlier. They want all of that excluded, defense counsel. But the prosecution really has to stick to the argument that his actions are all connected to the death of his daughter. Mm-hmm. And then the judge can maybe decide to get it in.
Mm-hmm. Right, Kelly. I'm glad you brought up about the video because he's also trying to keep that out. Let's play another clip from when he is questioned by police.
Can you make me a promise? Like man to man? Can you tell me that she's alive?
You're gonna play the same word games that they played with me the other day.
It's not word games.
I got nothing.
Because we care about it. We want to know.
Okay.
This isn't gonna go anywhere. Like this isn't gonna stop. So
No, it's not.
So either get on the bus now or get run over.
We spoke about Teardrop, well, on several shows, even shows that aren't about Harmony. This is the difference between a career criminal speaking with the police as opposed to someone where it's their first rodeo. We've seen interrogations of, well, it didn't take Megan Boswell too long to get arrested for lying to the police because, well, she said too much and she was stepping over her words. We have heard Don Wells speaking to the detective in Roy, Utah, even though people say there's no case. I guess that detective just had nothing else to do that day. And all he knew say is he didn't even want his rights read to him. Then we see interrogations like Letitia Stout, where they think they can talk their way out of it because they don't understand how these detectives work. He knows. He knows. You can't ever forget Sarah Boone. She's sitting there telling him how damn smart she is and how she excels at everything. And to answer a question in the chat, okay, Slim's answering it. Thank you, Slim.
I got nothing else to say.
Why is it you have so much trouble talking about harmonies?
Guys, I got nothing else to say. I want a lawyer with me.
Hey, lawyers up there, Carl Steinbeck.
Oh, he knew. He knew. Again, it's not his first rodeo. He served prison time. He's still under suspicion for a murder in Lynn, Massachusetts. I want a lawyer. I got nothing else to say to you guys. I want a lawyer. They say this isn't going away. I know it's not. So he's just going to hedge his bet with slowing down the timeline. Amy in Boston is just getting in here. Amy in Boston, I want to thank you for being such a huge advocate for little Harmony Montgomery. You have had some amazing comments. You share the show, and I appreciate it. I know this one really hits home with you. You're in the area.
Tell me what you think about the likelihood that that video potentially being excluded. What do you think the judge will do, please?
Yeah, I think the judge is probably going to exclude most all the evidence of what he says. And what they're looking at as a prosecutor is if that happens, then what other evidence can we bring in to show his guilt? And a lot of that would be his body language, his demeanor. And so take out the words. What do you have about the way he's acting, just the way he's responding outside of his car and whatnot? And think about it. What kind of father wouldn't be concerned about his daughter who's missing for 2 years? And he's got nothing to say about it. So he's obviously acting very guilty and suspicious. And that's what the defense is trying to do, is keep everything they possibly can out. And even the stuff like the lime purchase, that kind of stuff should come in, though, because that does show that it's directly tied to the crime. And so I expect all that kind of evidence of what he purchased at Home Depot will be admissible.
Mm-hmm. All right, Carl, I'm with you there. I know Kelly's nodding too. I think we can all agree this really should. I'd be stunned if the judge excludes that. Maybe that bit of video there, maybe, I don't know, because it's, I don't know what he's offering. He lawyers up, immediately. And to your point, Carl, he just sits there and looks guilty. So it is prejudicial in a way. And if I'm the prosecutor, I probably wouldn't care so much if that's excluded. I don't think it really makes the case. I want to show you all something else from the affidavit. Let's take a look at some of what is noted by police in the.
Okay, in the interrogation, him just saying, I got nothing else to say to you. I want a lawyer. Yeah, it goes without saying he's going to be sitting there with a lawyer. So it wouldn't really curl my toes as a DA to show them that he asked for a lawyer. I'd be like, sure, throw it out. I don't care. He's sitting there with a lawyer. Is he not? Is he not? You can't have too much evidence in any of these cases. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. And if something happens to where they throw out the lime and the grinder, I'm going to lose it.
The way in which they say this crime was covered up. In the affidavit, and we've highlighted the portion of it. If we could put it on the screen, it says that Adam had placed Harmony's body in a duffel bag and kept it in the trunk of the car. For months, they took Harmony's remains with them as they bounced around, living in different places. While living at a shelter, Adam placed the bag with Harmony's remains in the ceiling vent in their bedroom. And when the duffel bag began leaking, Adam placed a trash bag around it. Only
I had to go back because this is significant. This is part of the arrest affidavit. Teardrop placed Harmony's body in a duffel bag and kept it in the trunk of the car. For months, they, as in Teardrop and Stepmeth, took her remains with them as they bounced around living in different places. They had a lot of different addresses, lived in cars, you name it. Matter of fact, the day that Kayla testified he M'd Harmony, they ate Burger King. She had extra hash rounds, Kayla did. How are you going to sit there and eat your Chris sandwich and your tater rounds with extra ketchup, knowing that Harmony was just killed right in front of your bug, methed out eyes? Kayla said Adam was driving the vehicle and Harmony was in the rear seat on the passenger side. And while Adam was driving, he turned his body and delivered sets of 3 to 4 blows with a closed fist to Harmony's face/head on 3 separate occasions over the course of a few minutes. Stepmeth said after the final blow, Teardrop said, "I think I really hurt her this time. I did something." She said Harmony began moaning, which continued for about 5 minutes before it stopped. No one checked on her or sought medical attention for her, and shortly after noon, Kayla said she and Adam discovered that Harmony was not breathing and had died. Well, the PCA left out the part about them gnawing down on a big old bag of Burger King. So I guess we had put out of our mind the moaning and the cracking and him saying, "I think I did something this time."
Their bedroom. And when the duffel bag began leaking, Adam placed a trash bag around it, only removing the bag from the ceiling when a neighbor complained about the smell. And at one point, he apparently moved her remains to a smaller bag in order to fit her inside it. He replaced the remains he placed them rather inside a bathtub. And that's where we highlighted that portion a couple moments ago where Kayla says she saw the lime being poured. The story that is told here, Matt Johnson, as I'm reading it, I mean, I'm cringing. I know you are too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about the family and the fact that this girl wasn't even given a chance at life. Her body has never been found. And then also the cast of characters that we're going to see back on the stand making the case that this dirtbag is guilty of the murder, because they have their own set of problems and troubles that prosecutors have to overcome with drug addiction.
They definitely
Talk about prejudicial. He just called him a dirtbag. I've got other words for Teardrop, but I prefer to keep this channel going.
do. And of course, Kayla is going to be a key witness in this trial, yeah. The wife, the estranged wife. Right. And of course, defense counsel wants to muddy the waters on her and talk about her prior convictions. And of course, their goal is to get the jury not to believe a word she says.
Right, Kelly. They need Kayla. If Kayla goes south, this is really going to be problematic because she saw everything. And she's one of those people that as a prosecutor, you just have to kind of bite your tongue, and play the hand you're dealt, so to speak. Look, I mean, she's a criminal. Look, she engaged in this. She pleaded. She's cooperating. And so, look, it's like, all right, let's, hold her accountable to a degree, but realize, she didn't do the big crime. This was dad, according to police and prosecutors. Carl Steinbeck, tell me, how strong do you think the case is for prosecutors against Adam Montgomery?
I think they're going to be able to prove that he's the one behind it. And I think that the way he was moving the body around and whatnot, that is just so absolutely gruesome. And so I think that's going to really bring in a lot of strong indicators right there, just because of what he was doing with the body and how he's moving around. And the way people were complaining about the odors and whatnot, that didn't seem to affect him, that others had to bring up disgusting nastiness about things like that. So I do think that from what I've seen, that the evidence will be there to convict him.
Right. Yeah, it seems like the evidence is there. Oh my gosh. And with the gun case, Matt, I remember him standing up and saying, I didn't kill my daughter and all that. What was that about?
He was like, well, I accept the jury's decision. I'm not going to really talk about that, but I didn't do this. I didn't kill my daughter, and I'm innocent on all of those allegations.
Because he would rather be in jail. He understands the appeals process. He understands good behavior, which is ironic to say about Teardrop. He understands with the gun charges that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Someday, when he gets out for the gun charges, he will be an older man, a much older man. But there's a huge difference between being behind bars for gun charges. That is respected. That is respected. They don't have a problem with that. Guns and drugs, come on, sit at my table, buddy. Come on, you can deal the deck. We are playing for white bread today. Big difference between gun and drug charges in the big house as opposed to murdering a beautiful little girl and dismembering her. Big difference. That's why he's definitely going to fight this.
And everyone just kind of looked at each other when he said that. It was kind of weird.
Right. Kelly, do you think there's any way we're going to see him testify?
I would say no, Julie. I
hope so.
Yeah,
Right,
of course
yeah,
we all
right.
would love to see him testify, but clearly drugs were involved and he had some sort of issues that were going on to do something like this. Of course, he's presumed innocent until proven guilty, but just the craziness, the gruesomeness of this case is just terrible. I would say do not take the stand.
Right. Hopefully he listens to the good advice of his counsel and doesn't testify. But
They're good.
a guy like this, yeah, I remember you were very impressed. So this will be interesting to see what happens in this case. February 6th is the start date for the trial.
Okay, let's write that down. Feb 6th, go time for Teardrop. Okay, I've got my note. I got to get a calendar because I never check my Google Calendar. I'm very old school. I still have to have paper. You want to see all the notes I have around here. Dakota Parker said she was 5 and living in a car. What was she supposed to do? Exactly. When you gotta go, you gotta go. And when you've got 2 people sleeping it off in the front, and a little girl's got to go pee-pee, what do you expect her to do? Do you honestly think beating her is going to make her bladder hold more urine? No. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Again, they're gearing up. They are gearing up because yesterday the state filed a witness list in the upcoming murder trial of Adam Montgomery. He's not going to like this. He's not going to like it because there are lots of people that are willing to testify, or they have to, because they were handing out proffer agreements like M&Ms at Halloween. Make a deal with the devil has to show up, or the devil goes to jail. And I'm sure they weren't very nice about explaining their end of the bargain, particularly step meth. Lots of law enforcement, lots going on with this.
Adam Montgomery is facing several charges, including second-degree murder. He's also charged with falsifying physical evidence for concealing or removing Harmony's body, abuse of a corpse, and tampering with a witness. Harmony Montgomery was last seen in the fall of 2019. Her body has never been found. The star witness in the murder trial is expected to be Harmony's stepmother, Kayla. According to an affidavit, Kayla told police Harmony was beaten to death in the backseat of a car while Adam was driving. Adam was allegedly enraged because Harmony wasn't saying when she needed to use the bathroom. Kayla added that Harmony's body was kept in a number of places until the spring of 2020, when Adam got a U-Haul and left overnight.
The timeline doesn't make any sense to me. I don't think it was the spring of 2020. I think it was the summertime of 2020. But thank goodness I wasn't there. That's not something that I would want to see, because it was a very haunting scene when they came out of the apartment at Union Street with a refrigerator, pieces of flooring, pieces of sheetrock, and then we see agents in hazmat suits in the sewer. That was a lot to take in. That was a lot to take in. So he was enraged that she wasn't giving him enough of a heads up before she had to go pee. As a father, it's 100% his fault that they're homeless. Sorry to say it. It is 100% the adult's fault that they don't have a roof over the children's head.
When he returned, Kayla said Harmony's body was gone. In all, the state's witness list has 79 civilians, along with 73 members of law enforcement, 6 expert witnesses, and 31 record keepers.
79 civilians. We saw a lot of those civilians on the stand for the gun charges, which he was found guilty of. 73 members of law enforcement. So you can forget that they weren't doing everything in their power to solve this case, because 73 of them are on the witness list. 6 expert witnesses. I can't imagine what that would be. And 31 record keepers. I can't imagine what the experts are. Is there a degree in being able to tell the difference between a vile piece of shit and a good person? If so, I think everybody in here has that degree.
The defense has not filed their witness list yet. The state has also responded to several defense motions. The defense asking the court not to allow evidence that Adam Montgomery allegedly used an ATM across from a Home Depot and then bought lime and other items to help dispose of Harmony's body.
What a slick Rick. Old Teardrop goes to the ATM so he can pay in cash. They have cameras at the ATM. Then he goes into Home Depot where they have cameras. He's like, I'm not going to swipe my card for the lime. I'm going to pay in cash. Again, what does a dude that lives in cars, homeless shelters, and squats, why would he need lime or a grinder? It is very relevant to this case.
In objecting to the motion, the state notes the defendant misapprehends the distinction between circumstantial evidence and direct evidence, adding that the admission is not unfairly prejudicial since they are the tools he employed to conceal his crimes. The state does agree the defense should be able to question Kayla about her perjury convictions, but also says she should be able to testify that Adam beat her regularly, noting this goes directly to the charge of witness tampering. The state anticipates that Kayla will testify that she provided false statement due to the abuse, threats, and conditioning she suffered at the hands.
Miss me with that shit. It is my opinion that the women that Adam had around him, whether we're talking about Kim, Kayla, or Kylie, or Crystal, Teardrop had a habit of getting them very hooked on the substance of the week. I think that was more of the hold on step meth than the intimidation. She's not giving up those drugs. Oh, Kat, thank you so much for the super sticker. Thank you so much, honey buns. We sent out a big package to our friend Just Me today to get her some well wishes. Thank you so much. Kat always has a hall pass. Miss me with the abuse at the hands of Teardrop. You were having sex with him as Harmony's decomposing body was dripping on your bed. No.
Of the defendant.
The final pretrial in this case is scheduled for January 16th, with jury selection expected to start on February 6th. Reporting live in Manchester, Ray Brewer, WMUR News 9.
And again, in that clip, we saw the refrigerator being taken out. Now, the only thing that really seemed to irk former FBI agent Jennifer Coffindaffer was how the FBI was going to replace that all-needed appliance. Not that another tenant was using a refrigerator that at one point had the decomposing body of Harmony Montgomery in it. Not that Harmony's body was in the refrigerator. Not the timeline of how she was killed at the beginning of December and moved and moved and moved and moved, and that the FBI felt it important to take the refrigerator. She made a whole tweet about how the FBI had to replace that refrigerator. Don't worry. They have agents that do that. Not in my America. My FBI agents are not appliance salesmen. So she got it that week, and she's going to get it again this week. Here's to our idiot of the week, Jennifer Coffindaffer. Because who would say something that ignorant? I will never know. Christine Beach said, so scared of him, she had another child with him. Radio Gods said, hey, Teardrop, smell the decomp? Let's go make a baby. Exactly. Exactly. This isn't the first time that Adams' attorneys have wanted evidence thrown out. Several months ago, we talked about it on this channel. They wanted cell phone evidence suppressed. It didn't work.
Nearly 8.5 months, Adam Montgomery's lawyers want a judge to throw out evidence of a cell phone that authorities found in his possession.
It would be very surprising, quite frankly, if you did not see any motions filed by defense attorneys.
We asked former county attorney Patricia LaFrance of the Black Law Group about the defense's argument that police did not have a warrant when they seized the phone and didn't until a month later.
That's their job. They have to make sure that the police have abided by the Constitution and afforded that person their constitutional rights as guaranteed.
And that is why we do not just check Google for law. That's the reason attorneys have specialties. Some, if you slip and fall at the grocery store, you call a personal injury attorney. If a doctor left a sponge in you after a surgery, you call a malpractice attorney. If you're sick of the old boy, that doesn't flush the toilet, you call a divorce attorney. So something like this with the cell phone and the timing of the warrant, they will get a constitutional attorney to argue it. Again, it didn't work. Radio gods, it's a good thing I had myself muted because I spit out my coffee. I was laughing so hard. Radio God said, wait, is it Maytag or FBI? Imagine rolling into the Home Depot or the Lowe's or your favorite Maytag retailer, and you see a bunch of FBI agents asking about how much energy it's going to use. Cubic footage. Does it have ice in the door? Or is the ice up top? No, that's not how it works. She's an idiot.
Through the Bill of Rights and our Constitution.
According to the defense motion, one officer said that another officer would hold it, quote, for a second, just until detectives get here.
Did they have the right to first seize the cell phone and then later search it pursuant to a warrant?
The motion says police kept the phone, but a search warrant was not prepared and approved until January 31st.
The police are entitled to do that. When they go into a subject's home or a car, they may not know what they're going to find. And then when they do see something that could potentially have evidentiary value, then they are allowed to seize it to a certain extent.
Patricia LaFrance said that it's going to be interesting because New Hampshire law regarding cell phones is a little more protective than federal law. And she also says that there will most likely be a hearing with the officers involved and that they will have to testify. Here in Manchester, Troy Lynch, WMUR News 9.
I have a feeling there was a lot of things from 2019 to the end of 2021 when people were starting to realize they had not seen Harmony. I have a feeling there were a lot of convos between Adam and Kayla, or as we call them, Teardrop and Stepmeth. Have a good day, baby kisses. Baby kisses has to leave real quick. Now, this is some of the things that they want thrown out.
New Hampshire State Police locating and talking to the... Getting a first look at a video showing New Hampshire State Police locating and talking to the father of Harmony Montgomery. This video was taken last New Year's Eve, the day that police announced a missing persons investigation for Harmony. She hasn't been seen since 2019 and is now presumed dead. In the video, officers find Adam Montgomery in a parked car in Manchester. Officers ask Montgomery about his daughter's whereabouts. Take a look and a listen.
We just need to find out where she is. That's all I'm concerned about. You're not in any trouble right now that I know of.
They gave him the perfect window to jump out of. You're not in any trouble that I know of. We just need to know where she's at. This would be a very easy conversation. Very easy. She's at her grandmother's. She went to visit her mom. She's with my dad in Florida. You see, he could not produce her because he was her recipe for demise.
We have no warrants. Okay. So, where's your daughter so we can check on her to make sure that she's okay? Right now, I have nothing to say to you guys. But that's not what I'm just asking. Okay, I have nothing to say.
Montgomery's lawyers say he repeatedly told detectives he didn't want to talk to them, but detectives continued questioning him, which his lawyers say violates his rights. Montgomery is facing charges for allegedly abusing his daughter and is the person of interest in his daughter's disappearance. The first officer...
Funny how that works when the prime suspect says, "Don't look at my phone." Don't look at my phone. Here's another clip of Casanova living in the car with a new woman. Cannot believe that these women, it can only be drugs. that they would shack up in a car with him.
What's your name, my man?
What? Adam.
Adam.
This police body cam video obtained by News 9 Investigates was taken on December 31st, 2021, the day Manchester police announced a missing persons investigation for Harmony Montgomery.
On top of your head.
What's going on?
This was the first interaction between Adam Montgomery and Manchester police after officers located him sleeping in a car in Manchester's Wolf Park. In the video, officers asked Montgomery about his daughter's whereabouts.
We just need to find out where she is. That's all I'm concerned about. You're not in any trouble right now that I know of. Okay. You have no warrants. Okay. So, where's your daughter so we can check on her and make sure that she's okay? Right now, I have nothing.
We are just trying to find out where she's at. You're not in any trouble. You're not in any trouble. And this day, Kelsey Smalls was still alive. She didn't pass away until March of 2022. She had gotten out of a sober living facility. I guess she went to rehab. I don't exactly remember the whole timeline. And she was found passed away at a motel. They say there's no foul play. Adam was in jail, but it just seems like everybody Teardrop comes around winds up dead, in jail, or their life comes into some sort of upheaval. He is a toxic individual. Christina said, "Hi, honey. Come live in the car with me. I've got heat, I've got air, surround sound, seats that go back." Like old Gypsy Rose said, thank you, blessed mama, that D must be fire. That D must be fire.
But that's not what I'm just asking. Okay, I have nothing to say.
The interaction lasts about 45 minutes before Montgomery is sent on his way. Police track Montgomery down again later that day, serving him with a court order to produce Harmony.
Some detectives want to speak with you. He's being detained at this point.
5 days later, Montgomery is arrested on charges including second-degree assault for allegedly abusing Harmony. During an interview with detectives, Montgomery is asked several times about his daughter.
This isn't going to go anywhere. Like, this isn't going to stop. So,
No, no, it's not.
So, either get on the bus now or get run over.
Well, I got nothing else to say.
And so Montgomery's lawyers argue that he repeatedly told police he did not want to speak with them, but detectives continued to question him, essentially violating his rights. Prosecutors have said that any statements Montgomery gave were done so voluntarily. A judge, by the way, has not decided if these recordings will be used in court. Reporting live in Manchester, I'm Tim Callery, WMUR News 9.
My goodness. Makes my stomach churn when I think that any of the evidence against him, any of the evidence would even be considered to be thrown out. I think Harmony deserves better. Let's light it up for Harmony. How about that? Sweet baby. Those little glasses, little cute face. You can see from her pictures, she would have, a silly little personality. And I guarantee She walked on eggshells. Am I going to get yelled at today? Am I going to get punched today? Am I going to get spanked today? And am I going to be told to take care of their new babies today? Am I going to be told to scrub the toilet with a toothbrush today? Will I get to eat today? Will I have to watch them eat and they deprive me food because I keep wetting myself? Every day, that little baby walked on eggshells. Another thing he wants thrown out is his interrogation video, particularly this part. Let's go through this, and when you hear anything that raises a red flag, you know what to do.
Right. But the one I care the most about, care about your daughter.
Already, we have a red flag. Already, he's disassociating from Harmony. Do you care about your daughter? I care about all my kids. Well, we're talking about the one that no one can locate. Genius. So we have red flag number 1. Angie got it.
Care about all my kids. Right. But the one I care the most about is your daughter, Harmony. And we have people around the clock calling into us, giving us tips from all over the country because they care too to try to find where she is. My only goal, which I told you the other day, is to make sure that she's safe. I don't want you to get tied into something if you didn't do anything wrong. My job is not to jam somebody up for something that they didn't do wrong. And if you can tell me that you didn't do anything wrong, then I want to believe you because, dude, I've met you now a few times. I helped you out when you were at the hospital when you were having a fucking meltdown. You told me about your kids. I sat there and I talked to you. Dude, I could have fucking tased you right there. And I didn't do that because I saw deep down inside that you were hurting. And
I live for good cop, bad cop. I could have tased you right there. Dude, when you were having your meltdown, but I could see deep down you were hurting. They're trying to reach some sort of goodness in Teardrop. Many times in this interrogation, they were like, we don't think you're a monster. Do you want, the whole world to look at you as a monster? Just tell us where she's at.
that I wanted to help you. Right now, all I'm trying to do is help your daughter. I want to bring her home, and I can't do that without your help. Dude, I can't do that without your help. Help, hey, can you look at me? Help me, please. That's all I'm asking for. I can't sleep until I know that she's okay. And I know that you know where she is or what happened to her, but I can't do it without your help. And if you don't want to look like this fucking animal, because I don't think you are. Not that I don't think you are, I know you aren't. But I can only do so much for you, man.
Now, they've seen Teardrop's rap sheet. They know that no one reported Harmony missing for a very long time. I don't know how these officers keep their composure when they're looking straight at the devil. I don't know how they do it. I back the blue. I don't back the blue no matter who, because we know there's bad officers, there's bad doctors, there's bad lawyers, there's bad teachers. We know that. I don't know how they keep their composure. I could not sit across from him and say, I don't think you're this monster. I don't think you're an animal, but there's not much I can do for you until you spit it out.
I'm begging you to help me. Because as much as you're hurting inside, I'm also hurting inside, and I don't know how you can sleep at night because I'm sure it's eating the shit out of you. Am I wrong?
No, see, me and Pops, I know I'm not fucking seeing my wife, I'm not seeing my kids, you guys are
Right.
just playing games like this.
Dude, but I'm not trying.
I'm not trying to play games again.
Like,
Talent.
Typical career criminal. We heard Don Wells say this. They're just, the police is playing games. He's sitting there talking to two detectives saying, I'm not playing games with you. He said, we're not playing games. We're looking for your daughter. What kind of game would that be? I like to play Taboo, Jenga, Spades. Looking for a missing child is not a game. We heard Don Wells say this. Career criminals.
You telling my wife and kids that I'm not allowed to see my wife and kids, like.
but dude, that was a mistake from some court paperwork that hadn't been updated. So like I said, I apologize for that.
But it was updated. DCYF told them.
No. This was some like DV paperwork I'm talking about.
But I'm talking about DCYF already told us multiple times that there was no contact order.
Maybe
through DCYF, but.
It could have been through DCYF. So let's fucking forget about it. You've seen your kid, you've seen your wife and kids over the last how many days, right?
I haven't seen them in the last I haven't seen my kids in the last 2 days, 3 days.
Okay. You're always going to be their father. Declan, Seamus, and then Sierra, right? Kiera. And then there's Harmony.
I got nothing else to say.
This is very damning. He's naming out all the children. He corrects him on Kiera's name. He says, the officer says, the detective says, and then there's Harmony. Right there. Just like that. Listen to my snap. I've got nothing else to say. I've got nothing else to say. Look at his posture. He will not make eye contact. Eyes folded, meaning this conversation never started because I'm not going to participate. We've seen this in other cases when there is a separation between the victim and the other children. In the case of Gannon Stout, Letitia held Lena and her own daughter Harley in a much higher regard than Gannon. Obviously, proof is in the pudding. In the Summer Wells case, we see the difference between the way Summer Wells was treated by her mother, particularly, and the other children. Long history of child abuse.
That's it, guys. I got nothing
Hey,
else to say.
can you make me a promise? Like man to man? Can you tell me that she's alive?
You're gonna play the same word games that you played with me the other
No.
day.
Again, great strategy. They're hitting on his manhood. Can you promise me something man to man? He goes back like Don Wells again. You're playing games with me again. You're playing word games. Watch how his body language changes after he says man to man. Watch this.
That's it, guys. I got nothing
Hey,
else to say.
can you make me a promise? Like man to man? Can you tell me that she's alive?
You're gonna play the same word games that you played with me the other
No.
day.
It's not word games.
I got nothing else to say. We wanna know.
This isn't gonna go anywhere. Like this isn't gonna stop. So
No, I know it's not.
So either get on the bus now or get run over.
I got nothing else to say.
Why is it you have so much trouble talking about Harmony?
Guys, I got nothing else to say. I want a lawyer with me.
I'm gonna leave this copy of this ex parte or it's a petition from DCYF. You can read it later sometime. I'll put it in your property. It's basically the same thing you got the other day. It's just a little more detailed that we handed you. It does say that you're ordered to help us locate Harmony, but you're telling us you're not going to do that.
Just tell me you guys don't want to lawyer.
It is 9:25.
Woo! You really screwed the pooch this time, Adam. Teardrop. And of course, that shuts down the interrogation. That shuts down the interrogation. I think about this meme. This guy's really popular on Twitter. When you hear such stupidity, particularly when you get a Don Wells, a Candace Wells, a Brandon Shirtliff, you get an Adrian Lucian, you get a Letitia Stout, you get a Megan Boswell, and they're just serving it up and serving it up. I think about this meme. Life is soup. I am fork. Word games, board games. She's missing. Very simple question. Man to man. Now that was a low blow when you're dealing with someone like a Teardrop. He is a true narcissist. True narcissist. So when you are dealing with a Teardrop and you say man to man, I think that's what shut it down. Now you're picking on his manhood. And the Teardrop tattoo came from way before Harmony went missing. Let's look at something that we have played many times on here, and when a narcissist becomes enraged.
Drive a narcissistic person in a relationship are power, control, and domination. And the narcissistic person uses the relationship as a source of validation. If those needs are not being met or cannot be achieved, that is a contributor to the volatility of these relationships.
The volatility. When they don't feel those three things, something's going to go down. When somebody with this narcissistic personality doesn't feel validated in those three areas, volatility, something's going to go down. Let's listen to it again.
Drive a narcissistic person in a relationship are power, control, and domination. And the narcissistic person uses the relationship as a source of validation. If those needs are not being met or cannot be achieved, that is a contributor to the volatility of these relationships.
And I have a feeling that everybody that has ever been in Teardrop's life has suffered some sort of volatility and major hurdles in life because of who he thinks he is. Asking about the children, about Harmony, about any of those things didn't affect him. But when it was man to man, can you make me a promise? Is Harmony still alive? Man to man, I want a lawyer. The volatility. The volatility. He probably considered it some sort of disrespect that Harmony didn't appreciate the fries he was digging out of Burger King dumpsters for her. He probably felt disrespected when she didn't give him an hour's notice so he could wake up, put on his Coors Banquet shirt, and walk her into a Walmart to pee. Or unlock the car so she could get out. She did not have a good life. I don't care what her biological egg donor says. I don't care. The volatility. Well, guys, no more volatility for today. That's all I got. This has been a great show for Harmony Montgomery. We will be covering the trial. I don't know so much about the jury selection, but the meat and potatoes we are definitely going to cover. Because I want to see his face when and if that jury comes back and says, guilty. Guilty. Clara said every one of them failed that baby. You darn right. Darn tootin'. You got it. They certainly did. Lisa, thank you for the super sticker, and I'm so sorry you have a tummy virus. I had one right around Thanksgiving time, and I was like, what a time to not be able to keep food down. Thank you so much for your continued support of this channel. Thank you so much, baby. Very generous of you. Thank you for another great show and another great conversation with great friends. Thank you, mods. I know we get some, stragglers in here sometime that don't quite understand how we get down, but you guys always keep it cool and you keep it real. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. And I'm going to see you back here tomorrow at 9 a.m. Going to have a co-host with me, and we're going to talk about Stacy Wandra. Stacy Wandra. There's a lot of stuff going on in the case of Michael Vaughn, and we are going to stay on it. Never give up on these babies. Never give up on these babies. I never will, and I know you won't either, because you're the best chat and best community on YouTube. See you on the other side.